Hey guys, and again, as always, I have to bring this up. I take so much time to do that little picture at the beginning that shows everyone what your go live looks like, and then as the video actually starts, I relax and I look like myself, and I go, "Oh, that's what it should have looked like." So I just have to share something with you guys, all y'all. I don't usually say that, but I thought I'd give it a try. Um, Tomorrow is the first day, the anniversary of when my mom died. It's the very first time. And it's something I've been thinking a lot about as we've gotten closer and closer. But then also, besides that, I've been thinking, how is it that I'm going to handle this? As in, literally handle. How am I going to decide to use that day? Every day that you live is a day that you can mold. It's a tool, it's an opportunity. How am I going to use that day is something I've been thinking. But then besides that, I was wondering how am I emotionally going to respond to it. And so that's been weighing pretty heavily. The silly thing, it was offensive, happened between a family member and myself hours ago. And well, not that many hours ago. But anyways, it's something that ticked me off to a degree that usually it wouldn't. Because usually I'd expect bad behavior. But besides that, it's something I'd go, "Your loss," and I'd move on. But this time, oh, I was so mad. I was steaming. I was like, "Well, you should have let me know. I let you know I was coming. You changed your mind. It would have been the loving thing to do to let me know. But if you don't want to spend time with me right now, that's fine. There's plenty of other people that I can spend time with, I guess." And FYI, I'm not actually hungry, so I won't be eating any of that food. And I just wanted to check and make sure you heard me about that because you didn't say anything. And he yelled at me some more. I went, "Okay, bye." And I moved on. And I was thinking about that, and it made me so mad that I got so mad. But I was trying for a while to get back into a positive place. So I made a few calls, a few friends, and those who weren't busy called me back, and some couldn't. And that leads me to what this is actually about, INFJ and love. Um, I wanted to share some INFJ love with you guys. And I know that might sound weird. Don't worry, it's not going to get weird. If you want it to get weird, you're going to have to go to a different channel. This is the weirdest that I get. I just wanted to share something because as it turned out, I was going through a tough time, but a friend of mine was going through a much harder time. And as we were talking, she was talking about how low she felt. And there were some things that I mentioned to her, and she said that I should maybe mention that with some other people as well. So I want to do that with you guys, and I hope that this message finds the right person, whoever it is that needs it. When you've gone through a tragedy or extreme loss, whether that's a person or a job or expectations suddenly dropping, like maybe you've been in school for a long time and then suddenly you're kicked out of a program through no fault of your own, those sorts of things. It is a tragedy, it is a loss, and it is a sort of death because you've been working towards something for years and years. You've been thinking about it, you've been living with it in your heart, and now all of a sudden it's gone. And it's really easy to compare yourself right now to where you are versus where you were when your legs were cut out from under you, versus where you imagine and picture yourself where you should be. And where you should be looks still like the place that you would have been at if that thing didn't fall through. If you really think about the details, even if you don't see yourself in that job or in that house or in that apartment or in that country or in that marriage, a lot of the different small things still see the same way. Maybe you dream in color, and maybe it's the same colors. Or maybe you think more in sounds, it's the same sounds. A lot of the same ambiance of the thing that you lost or that was taken from you prematurely is still there in your expectations of now, and they're unfair. And what I want to say to you, if you have gone through that right now, I want to share some INFJ love with you. I want to just say um, tragedy is like the basement of life, and you have to take each step and you have to take the stairs to get back to just the first level, just the first floor. And it's not going to be instant because it's not just a single step down from where you were. It's somewhere way beneath where you ever imagined that you could be. It's unexpected. And you have to work your way back up. So to compare yourself to where you should have been and where you believe you should be is not the loving thing to do, because it's not real, and it's born out of frustration. And just need to remember that if you are in that position, you're taking the steps right now. And this might sound really silly. Some people are going to trivialize this, but the truth is, a lot of times when people deal with something like that, it's so much for them mentally and emotionally and physically that they take their lives. They take their own lives. They kill themselves because, as far as they can see it, these were all of the opportunities that were supposed to be open to them, and this was the situation they were supposed to be in. It's not there. It's the same as a death, and therefore it makes more sense to kill themselves. It's the death of them as far as they see it, and they make it a reality. And one thing that I said to her was, honestly, the only next thing that you could have done and what other people would do in your situation if you were that depressed as you were, the only next step, the only other action other than getting along and trying really hard and struggling, and you're sunshine and you're happy and you're down and you're up and you're down, the only two options you have is that, or honestly, the only other option that a lot of other people take when they're in that level of depression, because she was in a lot of depression, was between struggling and recovering and getting to a year later, which starts 1 week at a time, or killing yourself. And she was beating herself up because she feels like she should be further along or should be doing this, that, and the other thing. And I was just saying, honestly, the next step up from death is being alive. And where you were was just, there's only one more place to go if you're already in the basement and you're that deeply unhappy. There's only one more place to go. And either you decide to put yourself in the ground, or despite everything, you decide to take the stairs. I hope that this analogy isn't something that's working for you right now in your life, because I'm hoping you're not enjoying the climb after tragedy. But know this if you are, because frankly, what we're going through right now, the pandemic, is its own tragedy, seeing the world go through that. And of course, we've had family members. I've had family members who had it. But besides that, it might feel a little bit right now to you like it's the death of freedom. You can't get out. You can't have that job. Maybe you just got a job, or maybe it's school, whatever it is. Trust me, I really do understand. And we're taking the stairs. We're climbing the stairs, and we can't expect to just go from being in the basement or being in the ground to suddenly being on the top floor or anywhere near it. We have to just work our way back up to the first floor. And the only other thing that I have to say is that when your legs are cut out from under you, standing up is the perfect reaction. A lot of us grew up with the word perfect a lot. And so we strive to make sure, specifically a lot of times when it comes to work or when it comes to school, something like that, that somehow sort of encapsulates our own meaning. Like it shows whether or not we're worth this or worth that as people. We use the word perfect a lot, and then we use the word right. Well, that's not right. Well, this isn't right. I didn't do that right. And we get really, really tough on ourselves, but we're also getting really, really unrealistic with ourselves. If you have endured tragedy or great loss, or frankly, the loss of an expectation that you've been working towards for years and then suddenly it's gone, that is a type of death, really is. And I'm not the only one who says it. You can look up your own psychology stuff for yourself if you want, but the truth is that it is. And our body reacts to it, our minds, our emotions, all of it. If you're looking at yourself and you're mad that you haven't not only stood up, but ran a marathon, if you're looking at yourself and you're mad or you're sad because, well, you have a part-time job and it was nothing like it would have been as an executive, or maybe yeah, you managed to get the food stamps, but you're not making what you should be making, what should be on the family table. Or maybe you, like in my case, yes, you did get the surgery for your beloved dog. And then there were complications. I spent the past year going door to door, emails, all sorts of stuff, raising money for her surgery so she would get better. And instead, she had complications from that surgery, and now she's passed away. And this is all happening just before the first anniversary of my mom being dead for a year, which is tomorrow. And that was all happening just after the anniversary of my youngest dog dying, and we're coming up on my grandfather's first anniversary of him being dead. So there's so many different ways that I can look at that, believe it or not, and turn it into a here's how I failed. I failed to protect those people and those dogs because they're not around. Or, okay, maybe that's not true, but since I am here and it's a year later, I should have a salaried job and this and that, and I should be skinnier, and I should be, my website, my YouTube should be monetized and all this stuff. But in actuality, it's very unrealistic, and I'll tell you why. When someone has cut the legs out from under you, the perfect response is standing up. And if you have managed to stand up, then you have done the only thing that you could do and that anybody should be expecting of you. You've done the most and you've done the least because you've done the only thing. And standing up after tragedy and after someone cutting the legs out from under you, as gruesome and vivid as that is truly, frankly, a little miraculous, but it can be done. And in that way, like in a lot of other ways, miracles happen every single day. So if you've stood up recently, if you're in the middle of standing up recently from your latest tragedy or whatever, remember, please don't nitpick and look at the fact that you've done something amazing and beautiful. And I don't know if anyone around you has said it to you lately, but I love you for it. I love you for it. If you've done that, if you're in the middle of doing that, that's a beautiful thing. It's very hard, and it's very, very worth it because you are worth it. And I don't know you necessarily, but if you're doing that right now, or you've done that ever in the past, or you know someone who's doing that, if you can, if it's safe, just let them know that you recognize that you love them too, because it's very easy. It's very easy not to see how great you're doing or how much you've lifted up when your eyes are just covered in loss. Loss is almost like it's almost like blinders, what they put on a horse. It's really, really hard to assess the fact that you're still around and that you've stood up when all you can think about is who's gone or what's not there. So if you know someone who's in the middle of standing up right now, if it's safe for you to do so, just let them know. Let them know there's something good about them and that and this is really important that you can see it. Because tonight, before she started talking to me and telling me how down she was, I didn't realize that I was doing the same exact thing to myself. I didn't see myself as someone who stood up. I saw myself as someone who was just getting along. But yeah, I've stood up. I keep standing up, and I'm gonna keep climbing those stairs until I get to that first floor, and then that's where the real climb begins. So, anyways, I love you guys, and I support you, and I hope you have a truly wonderful night. And if you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up. My connection is a little slow, and of course, please leave a comment if there's anything that you would like to talk about or share if you're a survivor. Okay, all right. Good night, guys. I feel really embarrassed now, and I don't know why. Okay, bye. Good night.